I would love to get an honest answer on what they think is in the best interest of the team this year and into the future with this top 5 protected pick hanging over them.
Right.
Because, there's a hyper focus on it. Can they tank? Can they get there? And the way they're playing, they are tanking. It's spontaneous tanking. It wasn't planned. It's certainly, I don't believe it's what Craig Berube is aware of and trying to execute. They're just playing tank hockey. Like, that's how they play.
Yeah.
But if let's say they get into the top 5, they keep the pick this year, then it rolls over to Boston, unprotected. And then the Philly pick rolls over, I believe, unprotected. So you're doing this dance for a couple of years. If you believe this is just a complete, just one-off atrocious season, does that feel hard to believe? Yes. Is it possible? Yes. I mean, again, everyone's emotional right now. Everyone really has a hate on for everything Maple Leafs right now.
Yeah.
It's tough to like anything about what's going on. But could they reset in the offseason, change a couple of things, dramatically change some things, like foundational things, but that are changeable, get some healthy goaltending, couple new pieces in here, and be better next year? Yes, that is conceivable. But if the thought process behind the scenes, whoever's going to make this decision, Tree Living, Pelly, someone else, if you think this is just the tip of the iceberg and it's the cliff where just your 2 wheels are off it, the other 2 aren't, then playing that pick's going to this team next year and the following year is tough. So I guess what I'm getting to is I think there's a part, like people are like, they're tanking for that pick. Maybe. Or they're saying, we got to win to just get this pick over with. Give Boston the 12th pick, and it sucks, and the trade is what it is, but it's done. And now you just deal with Philly next year and the Lawton trade kind of hanging over you. But, you could drop in the top 5. You could pick 5th, and that could be a really good player and a foundational piece for your future. But then you're playing the Boston, Philly, unprotected draft pick into the future.
My buddy said to me on Sunday morning, I had to go see him at like 6 in the morning, and he was like, just had a coffee, and he looked at me and he goes, "Oh, dog, I remember once we were golfing and you said something that was really awful. I was playing really bad, and you looked at me on the 14th hole and you said, by chance, is there any worse than this from you? Like, can you play any worse than what you're doing right now?" He goes, "I want to ask you the same thing about the Leafs. Like, is there actually worse than what they're doing?" And I said, "Dude, it would be hard to picture anything worse than what they're doing. How could it get worse?"
Well, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, what is, from where we are right now, let's try and remove emotion, but we can't because we're watching, we're invested. What would be a perfect scenario, what you were just laying out, Brian, so that you could have some peace of mind moving forward? I'll give you an example. You just said if they work hard the rest of the season, they miss the playoffs, but they end up giving Boston the 12th pick, then it's not as bad, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have a fundamental overhaul in the offseason just on some of the players. I still think you need an attitude/culture change inside there. Something's not jiving, and maybe it's just everyone's frustrated and crabby. But you can have a one-off. They're talking about it today at practice, saying, look at what Tampa did the 1 year. Look at what Boston did last year.
Well, Nye said it today. He believes they'll be back, better than ever.
So then if that's what the belief is, and maybe the organization thinks that, what is the best scenario? The best scenario better be to work your ass off down the stretch, get some points in the standings, miss the playoffs.
They're not going to do that. They've already proved there's been a big enough sample that they're not going to do that. They are not going to go out on the ice and bust their ass and say, we at least we at least owe the fans some effort and kind of give them a show at home. They have gone, they've mailed it in, and it's so embarrassing to watch them play. I feel bad. I feel bad watching them. I'm like, how could you go out there and just it's almost like not even trying. And I keep bringing up JVR and Bosey and Phil the last 20 games. I remember watching that line saying, "Oh my God, they're literally not even trying."
Well, by the end though, it was a tank. It was Horacek. They
Yes.
fired Carlisle. Horacek
I get
came
it.
in, and they
It's
got
just
Marner.
really goofy to watch
I
effort
know.
level like that.
But to answer your question, Noodles, if you
Yeah.
believe they're going to – this is a one-off, I actually see it the complete opposite way. Lose every game and keep the pick. Because who cares
Okay.
what you do the final 8 – no one's going to show them – no one in 18 games like Matthias Michelli. Oh, I love him actually the last 18. You're in next year. No, I've made up my mind on Michelli. Max Domi's not saving himself in the market because he has a great 18 games and gets in a few fights. Not happening. I know what they are. I personally, and I guess I'm speaking also on behalf of the architect, whoever that's going to be, of what's right, what's wrong, what has to change. If you think it's a one-off, then you tank. Lose every single game, keep your pick, and then next year you hand Boston the 22nd pick overall, right? And then you're back in the dance and Philly gets the 24th pick the next year. That would be ideal. And that move is bottom 5. You're going to get a new coach. Like I can't picture Craig Berube surviving this. I mean, we'll see. It's not that they'd want to. It's not even that he's at the primary reason for what's going on. But when your team is playing like this, like you just described it. Oh, that's how does a coach answer to that? Hey, your team isn't even playing anymore, and they've got 20 games left.
Dude, he has a look on his face in his interviews and on the bench where he's like just uncle. Like,
Exactly.
uncle.
It is getting closer to the Ron Wilson, Randy Carlisle, Wendy and Mercy. How do you keep putting them out there? Because it's going to get ugly down at the building.
Right.
They're starting to boo. It's going to get louder and uglier if they keep losing down there. But that's the ideal scenario. If you don't think you can turn it around quick, then I'd say it's what you just suggested, Noodles. Try to win out, hand over Boston the 12th pick, just wash your hands of the Carlo deal, and then reset with whatever you got to reset into the future.
Do you think there's a reset available, Brian? And I'm not like you don't have
retool
to,
on the fly, you mean, and be back in the playoffs?
like
do.
what players would be out there where, as bad as that decor is, like I'm talking that decor basically needs to be wiped out by 4 and 4 different defensemen playing back there. I cannot see a situation where you can go out and find enough players, difference makers, actual NHL difference makers, and total pros to turn that roster around next year. I don't know who's available or what those players could be.
Again, we're putting the cart before the horse, but I think what you do is you decide, what's the fate of Morgan Riley? What does he want to do? He's earned the right as a player to stay or to go. That's his no move clause. But you start there, and then you start to rotate it through, and you go, okay, is McCabe a guy, an OEL that you can keep? Everyone else is in play. Something like that. Again, you're not going to flush 7 guys, but I think you have to have a different thought process back there, and we're seeing it now. You have to be able to skate and move the puck. You have to be able to defend, but defending is by committee. So, we saw Stetcher when he came in. Hey, it was great, and then all of a sudden, we know what he is, right?
Arrived. Yeah, of course.
Right. Yeah, and it is what it is. But, there are players that you can reshape it with, that isn't going to cost you $1 zillion. Like it is, you're going to have to be smart and pick up a certain type of player. If you want a heavier player, you better get a puck mover with him. That type of stuff. And I guess you're right, they don't grow on trees, but that's where you have to be creative.